No one loves a douchebag actor. You know the kind, the press junket who mouth off about themselves with an overinflated sense of importance. And that reflects badly on them. But what's even worse is when they downplay what they do for a living. It's not like I'm saving lives, or it's not like I'm working for a living, because that devalues all of us, the whole profession. So I'm here to say, stop apologising for being an artist. It's not selfish for us to enjoy what we do. Athletes don't apologise for enjoying what they do, and sport only exists for athletes. I mean, sure, some people watch it, but the outcome's the same regardless of the viewership. You know, someone wins, someone loses. That's its reason for being. But performance only exists for the audience. There's no win, there's no lose, because it's not a competition, it's a conversation that only happens because of the audience. And so if we're pointing the finger at selfish, it's not the artist. In this country, we celebrate elite sports. Great. But then we deride arts as elitist. I mean, how does that make sense? Or we use words like artistic temperament as a put-down to mean out of control, emotionally unstable, or creative type, when what we mean is disorganised, unreliable. When did creativity become an insult? Now, even science, with its logical methodology, needs creativity to come up with a hypothesis, to test a theory, to pull the pieces together, to conceive of possibility. When times are tough, what are the first programs we cut in schools? Arts, as though they're a luxury item. But then in times of tragedy, who's the first to put up their hand to boost morale, raise money, often at their own expense? Artists, singers, musicians, actors. And when the world shut down a few years ago, what did we all turn to? Music, movies, laughs, tears, comfort, catharsis. And yet artists see less and less revenue for the work that they do because we diminish it by calling it content or assuming we're entitled to have it all for free. You know, if you listen to politicians, you'd think the only measure of society is economic growth. But what do we remember of ancient civilizations? Art, architecture, culture, invention. Okay, war and conquests too, but that doesn't quite fit my narrative. I mean, who remembers whether the Egyptians balanced their budget in 1200 BC? But I bet you've seen Tutankhamun's golden headpiece. You know, culture is who we are. It's our identity. It's our collective sense of self. It's not in any one thing. It's all around us in our buildings, in our furniture, the clothes we wear, the stories we tell, the music that is the soundtrack to our lives. Take all of that away, and who are we? Art is not a luxury. And it's not just entertainment. It holds a mirror to our values. It challenges who we are, because who we are keeps changing. And yet we want to put trigger warnings on movies, on plays, because it might make someone feel uncomfortable. Or we're outraged when some artist crosses an imaginary line of moral ambiguity with their photography, their sculpture, their comedy. We shout about diversity, but then we shut down diversity of opinion that doesn't agree with our personal worldview. And then we want to cancel it out of existence. Without pushing boundaries, how do we know where they are? How do we understand ourselves and our differences? So if making art means pushing against the status quo, I say fuck them. Push harder. Now, I know art isn't everything, and it's not always noble. Sometimes it's co-opted for propaganda. And why? Because it's powerful. It's persuasive, seductive. And that makes some people very uncomfortable. But it also means it has the power to change for the better. And better or worse, art is the legacy of our time. No matter how tempted we are to rewrite history. You know, great artists hone their craft over decades to make it look easy. So all the audience sees is the result, the polish, the glamour. And maybe that's as it should be. Or maybe we should take our cue from athletes, crow about the process a little. Yeah, tough gig out there today. Act 1, poor, what a killer. Me and the boys gave 110%. Been a good season. Because this idea of artists as dilettantes who just swan in, swan out, because it's all fun and games and comes so easy, feeds this perception that we're all overpaid. And it's easy to make that assumption if your measure is the cream at the top. You know, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Tom Cruise, Steven Spielberg, and never earned that place. But theirs is not the reality for most of us who are just trying to make ends meet. So next time you're consuming content, even the bad stuff, consider the artistry, the dedication, the persistence, the invention, the curiosity, the sacrifice that goes into making it. Because that ain't nothing. And stop apologising for being an artist.